Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Centre Circle podcast, the home of West Midlands football. After a summer break, which ended disappointingly with England losing the European Championship final to Italy on penalties, where one of our members was actually there, Drew.
And caught COVID.
We're back with what we call the proper stuff. We've got the championship starting tomorrow night, and you know what? I'm absolutely buzzing for it. We're going to have a full season. We're going to have full capacities back again. I cannot wait. Always love seeing the first weekend of the season in the championship as well. Atmosphere is going to be bouncing up and down the country. Of course, the big Midlands news, the big football news really this week has been I wouldn't say never-ending saga, but obviously Jack's been linked here, there, and everywhere over the past 2 years. Looks like he's going to be moving. Looks like he's going to be moving. Medical reportedly passed this afternoon. £100 million to move to Manchester City. What's your thoughts, Drew? How's that going to set you up for the season? Are you glad that it's done and dusted quickly? Are you surprised he's moving? Are you surprised the club are letting him go?
I'll be honest with you, mate. I think, first and foremost, I don't think fans were aware that there was a £100 million release clause. Which I'll come on to after. But I think Villa fans need to realise that 4 years ago, Tottenham came in and Grealish was prepared to go to Tottenham 4 years ago. Then we got up, and I don't think anyone potentially, the season went up, I don't think there was anyone serious, because I think we were on the up. You know, no one really thought they'd try and test the waters. Following season, Man U were fairly heavily linked, and he admitted in his interview after signing a contract that he didn't know where he was going to be. So, which tells me that he was interested in move to Man U as well. And then it came in today that we found out that Villa have offered more money than City were willing to offer him, and he's gone to City. Now, I've been pretty straight with this, that I'm a Villa fan, love the club, have done since I can ever remember. If someone offered me that opportunity to go and win trophies, I'd be gone. And I don't begrudge him. I think he's done the right thing. I think he's gone for ambition. And it almost actually softens the blow that he's turned a bigger offer from Villa down to go and play for City. However, I don't necessarily think it's Jack just picking City because City are the best in the country currently. I think if this would have been Man U coming in for him, if it would have been Chelsea coming in for him, dare I even say if it would have been someone else in if Arsenal or Tottenham were in Champions League at the moment and they came in for him, I still think he would have gone. He's got no ties to Man City. He's got no ties to any of those other clubs. I just don't think that he sees himself playing another season where he's not going to be playing in Europe. And, we can't offer that. Now, the sad truth about it is that if Jack didn't get injured for 3 months, there's a chance that we could have pushed for it last season with how poorly some of the team, not saying in proper Europe, but, in sort of where Tottenham were. I think we finished something like 8 points behind Tottenham. Now, you'd like to think that in 3 months' time that Jack Grealish is probably worth pushing that sort of figure. And yeah, I mean, I was over it, to be honest with you. I think the minute that City said they wanted him, I'd kind of accepted that he was going. So that was before the Euro, or during the Euros, whilst me and Trig were sat inside a bar sport outside a toilet watching a Scotland game. So I'd accepted it a long time ago. It was my only anger, I guess, has been that it's dragged on, and we're two weeks away from the season starting, 3 weeks away from the window shutting, and I just feel like he owed it to the club to just get it done quickly, if I'm being honest. I get that Villa wanted to have a chat with him, but everyone in this world has learnt to use Zoom and Teams, haven't they, over the last 18 months? We all know we can get onto a Zoom or a Teams meeting. I think his mind was made up back then. And I've been banging the drum, get it done quickly. Let us have a chance to sort of get players in. And personally, and I hope this doesn't come off as sounding bitter, but I actually think it'll be good for the club in the respect that you're looking at the signings that we've already made off the back of Jack seemingly going. It looks as though it's going to be probably announced either today or tomorrow, doesn't it? So, and you've sort of lost. I think Jack scored 6 goals last season. You've brought somebody in that's from Germany, that's doubled that tally. You've got Ings that doubled that tally. Emi Buendia, again, granted that I know he's in the Championship, but I don't think anyone would disagree. I think he is a bit, there is a lot of quality in Emi Buendia, and I don't think we're done. I think there's potentially 2 more to come in the door. I think there's a lot of arrows pointing at sort of someone like Todd Cantwell, which I've done the typical thing and done a bit of YouTube research on him and some stats on transfer market, etc. And I think it might be a bit of a monkey off our back to say that we're no longer Jack Grealish FC, and there's a lot more quality in those attacking positions. Ultimately, to play Villa last season or the last couple of seasons would have been a dream. You mark Jack Grealish out the game, you've won it. With the greatest respect to Villa, whereas this season, if you take care of Bailey, you'd like to think that Buendia could do something. If you take care of him, you'd like to think that Watkins can do something. And I think there's a little bit, hopefully, going to be a little bit more to our team this season. I think we've actually got a stronger squad already this season than we did last. I know that sounds weird, as you just lost probably your talisman, but yeah, that's how I feel.
I think other Villa fans will come round soon, because at the minute they're all kicking off, aren't they? Do you think you've got to just let him go? Yeah, it's sad, but like you say, it's an end of an era, but it could also be the start of another era. You've got all the money in, you're building the squad. Do you think over time Villa fans will be like, you know what? In a way,
Unfortunately, there's a saying: bad news always travels quicker than good, and I think it's the same with fans and reactions and I know it's not a lot to go off, but someone did a poll today of when Jack comes back to Villa Park, how are you reacting? And it was, one was booing, one was silence, and one was cheer or whatever, and 50% was like, he's not a Villa player anymore. It's just silent. Why would I react that Jack Grealish has come? There's a lot of people. I saw you guys saying that some guy's been on burning a Villa shirt, and there's been a lot of he's a snake. And I'm sorry, but if your competitor came in and you've both been at your companies, a fair few years now, I'm sure you quite like your company. I know it's different, but if they said to you, I'm going to bring you in with this success is going to come your way instantly rather than in 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 years time, you're going, yeah, right. I mean, I know there's not a lot of difference in the wages and that's quite good to see, but as a footballer,
I don't understand why. I know, as a Villa fan and that, but almost the same happened to us with Jude. It's like, he's not going to stay around. Like, you might be 5 years off something. We're at least 10 years off something. He's obviously not going to stay. And I think it's the same with you. He is not going to win anything at Villa in the next 5 years.
Agreed.
He'll go to City next season and he'll win 3 trophies.
Oh, I totally agree. And I think
Villa fans are kicking off about it.
Yeah, and I think that realistic Villa fans see that, and I think there's 2 folds to it with Jack and Villa fans. The first one is that a lot of Villa fans feel as though we're on the cusp of being able to go and challenge in the top 7, top 8. Again, is that good enough for Jack? Clearly not, because he's gone. So that's where they're begrudged to say, well, you've kind of done all the hardship. We're now on the cusp of something exciting, and you're now leaving. That's the first fold. The second is clearly when he signed his contract last year, and it's the my home, my city, my club. I believe in this project. The owners only spoke to me for 10 minutes and I'd already bought into it. I rang my agent. I just signed the contract. There was no, and it was all a case of, well, looking at it now, is that because no one came in for you? So it was just like, I'll just get a bumper contract. And I think that's where people are saying, really, if Man U would have come in last year where we was valued at, he was at 80 million, I think, last year, he would have gone for that as well. And I think that's what they're trying to say now, is that it is a little bit like, almost he's done himself a bit of injustice by coming out and saying how big of a Villa fan he is, effectively, because if he would have just come out and gone, yeah, I've grown up as a Villa fan and never really ever spoke about it again, but he kind of bangs the drum about it of this is my city and I love Villa and I've always been a Villa fan, and he posts pictures up of being a kid. And I think people need to realise that John Terry stayed at Chelsea all his career. If Chelsea were shit, he wouldn't have been anywhere near Chelsea. It's as simple as that.
I think people look at the Gerrard one as well, don't they? There's a bit of a comparison there. And I think, like, you know,
but they
even
were still getting
Liverpool
Champions League, though, weren't they?
This is what I mean. Like, what I mean is that, like, people were burning Gerrard shirts because he was thinking about it. Fans are so fickle. You know, at the end of the day, Gerrard had just won a Champions League for his City.
We didn't burn our Jude shirts. We retired ours.
But one of the things that you did say there was that you think that he's got sort of no ties to Man City. I don't think it's about the club. I have said this. It might not be your cup of tea, but Pep's got pull. Pep's got pull. Fergie had pull years ago. Mourinho had pull when he was at Chelsea. That, to me, is probably the biggest influence as to why Jack's gone there.
You know,
players want to play for him.
I get where you're coming from, and I do. But in an interview last year, he openly admitted that he didn't know where he was playing based on Man United speculation. And I'm telling you now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't got pull. So for me, I think, I honestly think if Chelsea, Man U or City would have came in for Jack this year, it doesn't matter about the pull. He was, I mean, even last season, every time there was a Champions League match on, he posted it on his Instagram, love Champions League night. And it was almost like, looking back now, it was like him hinting, get used to it because I'm off kind of thing. And I'll be honest, mate, I've always been told, you know, I didn't play, obviously, a very good level of football, but I always got told, play at the highest level of football for as long as you can. And that's what he's gone. He's 25.
It's a young man's game.
Yeah, and he's, you know, he's going to get a shed load of money. He's going to get a shed load of trophies. He'll get, you know, he's a really good looking lad. He's very marketable. He's obviously got a personality. The whole country would, you know, obviously, other than potentially Wolves, Baggies and Blues fans, we're all, you know, banging the drum to get him onto the pitch during the Euros. And you know, they have now signed a commercial machine. They've not just signed a £100 million ability footballer. I would imagine that they will get that money back within shirt sales within a couple of months. So it will cost them nothing. You know, and he's gone to City because his image has just blown up. Do you know what I mean? I think he started the Euros with 1 million followers on Instagram. He's now got 3.2. Like the whole, you know, I don't know a woman who doesn't fancy him. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is. And like Trigg said, he's outgrown Villa, and I don't begrudge him for wanting to go and win trophies. I think he's done the right thing. In the whole, I think he's done the right thing.
Definitely. And to me, I just think that it's such a vast amount of money. Like, they strip it all back. It's amazing business. It is amazing business. I don't care what club you are in the world, to sell a player for £100 million is fantastic business.
Yeah.
Then you're already making waves, reinvesting that in key areas to give more balance to the squad. It will set you better off for the future, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like I say, I think sort of my last word on it is that, you know, I've been open. I absolutely adored the player. I think he's probably the best player I've seen, not necessarily in Villa's history. Just what he did on a pitch was just superb. You know, I know necessarily stats and goals and assists are probably not where Trigg would like them to be, but in terms of what he did on a pitch, you know, he's a big loss. But like you say, unfortunately, where we are right now, where we've no European football, you naturally take your place in the food chain, and we haven't got European football to offer him. He's an elite player, and elite clubs come in for him, and unfortunately, he goes. But the good thing for us is that we now go and use that money to, like you say, balance out our squad a bit better, and hopefully try and better our position from last season.
Well, he's got the chance.
Can I just jump in here?
He's got the chance to prove he's elite now. I don't believe he is yet, but he's got the chance to. He's got the chance to prove it. I think this season that he's at that level.
Fair enough.
That Grealish, the best player you've ever seen at Villa surprised me just because he's played in the Championship. He had a season in the Premier League where I think you were poor, clearly almost got relegated, and then he had 75% of last season. So has he played for Villa at a good level in the Premier League that much? I don't think he has. He played it for 3/4 of last season. So that's why I was surprised at your comment, because in the 2000s, I just remember, I mean, we were quite young then, but I remember Villa being, a top 8 team consistently. I was thinking, I mean, I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. Surely they had better players.
Oh, I mean, listen, I think that it depends how you look at it, because when in the 2000s, we were always very much a counter-attacking team. So we always were based on a very, very good defence. Your Melbergs, your Lawsons. I mean, before that, you obviously had a lot of different options in there as well. But we always sort of had a balance. So like, in that era, you'd probably say Ashley Young was probably, up there, and stats wise, he's far better stats wise than what Jack was for Villa. But I don't know, it's just what he did. And like I say, I completely understand your argument, but hence there's a reason why he's worth 100 million, or if you don't agree he's worth 100 million, there's a reason why a team's willing to pay 100 million for him, because in my opinion, and, I'm happy to have pelters for it, but in my opinion, he's the best player I've seen in a Villa shirt in my era.
That's fair enough. I mean, obviously, if I'm obviously pulling that for a Wolves player, I'm obviously pulling it from a shortened period of time as well. So, one of the things that blew up a little bit the other day as well, which kind of links into this one, and that is Harry Kane. Now, Jack Grealish, it's obviously come out now, had negotiated himself in his last contract a buyout clause, and this is exactly the point I'm making the other day. Harry Kane has been nothing short of a disgrace this week, as far as I'm concerned. An absolute disgrace to not turn up to train for your football club, no matter what's going on behind the scenes, to try and force a move out, is not acceptable. If players down the years like Carlos Tevez sitting on the bench and having to spat with Mancini, everyone was giving him loads. Why? Because he's not the England captain. He should be not immune to it, in my opinion. I think it's disgusting. Gentlemen's agreements, whatever, they mean nothing. If you want to secure your future, you be a bit more streetwise. Everybody knows what Daniel Levy's like. You be more streetwise and don't play the blame game, because he's got nothing but himself to blame.
What else is he going to do? If he wants
negotiate, don't sign a 5-year deal. Negotiate yourself. 5 or 6, whatever it was, 2018 to 2024, was it? Yeah, so 5 seasons, 6 years, whatever. Negotiate yourself a buyout fee in that then, and you won't be stuck where you are now. But to not turn up and spit your dummy out is unacceptable. He's the England captain. He's the most high-profile player in this division. He needs to just pick his dummy off the floor and get back in training.
It's the only way to get a move. If there's been a gentleman's agreement and Spurs have gone back on the word, I can understand his frustration. I'll let you go
turn up for training now.
And then they've gone, actually, nah. He wants to win trophies. He's not going to win them at Spurs.
I
don't blame him.
Am I right in thinking that his brother's his agent, though?
Could be right, yeah. Could be right.
Because if that's the case, Jack's under a super agent, if you like, and then Kane's brother's his agent. That kind of tells you, like you say,
whose fault's that?
No, but what I'm saying to you is, it just shows you, like, get a better agent. It's all good and well being an elite player and letting your brother get some dough on the side, but actually you've got to look after yourself and, like you say, negotiate yourself a better deal where, when a big club comes in for you, they know the price. It's not even a negotiation.
Now, he's 28.
Yeah.
He's not going to sit around forever. He wants to leave.
That's fair enough.
City have probably said to him, if you want to come, you're going to have to upset some people. So he's just going to refuse to play, or refuse to turn to training, to the point where Spurs have got to sell him.
Unacceptable.
Not going to wait around for him. I know it's not ideal, but
imagine a player's doing that at your club. Imagine a player's doing that at your club.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm never cheering him ever again. I am never cheering him ever again. It's an absolute disgrace. He's the England captain, for crying out loud. He needs to fix up. and
I
get
think
himself
He's done
sorted.
enough for Spurs. It's time. Same as Grealish. It's time.
Then
for him
get
to
it,
move on,
get
let
it
him
in your
go.
contract. Then get it in your contract, and
When
don't
did he
leave
sign the
nothing to
contract?
chance.
When did he sign that contract?
2018.
Exactly. That was 3 years ago.
So
In fact,
only don't sign
Don't
a 6-year deal. Then don't sign a
But the
6-year deal.
problem, see, the thing with it
His
is,
own
right,
fault.
in football, things change. So when Kane got sold that dream and that contract, it was, we're going to do this, that, the other, and that's how we're going to get to X. Since then, they are now on their third manager since that contract was signed. And no one can mention the name Daniel Levy without thinking he's an arsehole. He's an arsehole. So Kane is now being an arsehole, and Levy doesn't like it because he's being played at his own. I get where you're coming from, Dal, and I'm not dismissing that. It's not probably the best way of doing it, but you've got to realise that these players hold the cards now. Like, as much as Levy will go, all right, and that's fine, I'll let you sit on the bench. Well, that's right. Well, Kane will sit on the bench and he'll still have 200k a week. Or is Levy going to look at it and go, well, I'll either cash in on him now or keep filtering down his contract and we're going to lose for nothing. Well, I'd rather just get 120 million for him.
And when he signed that contract, Spurs were on the up. They were in the Champions League final. They looked like they were going to push on. So he thought, you know what? We look like we're going to be all right. I can win things at Spurs. Since then, like Drew said, they've had 3 managers, finished, 6th, 7th, maybe even lower last season.
They were in the Europa
promises.
Reserve League.
I'll promise you we will win things. I'll promise this and the other. So he's had broken promises to him and he's going, I don't want to be here anymore.
I completely understand every single aspect of everything that you boys have just said. But Jack Grealish only signed a contract last summer. But he was streetwise enough to get a buyout clause in his contract. Because if he ever wanted to go or a big club came knocking, he had that opportunity to go. Harry Kane was naive enough to take Daniel Levy's word for it. Then you deserve everything you get. Do not just throw your toys out the pram now. So Harry Kane doesn't never read through the contract or have in the back of his mind that I might want to go if things go pear-shaped. Have I got a buyout clause? If he's not sense checking this himself, and he's got his brother next to him, then he needs to point the finger.
Harry Kane was true to his word. He didn't want to second guess things. He didn't want to think, what if, because his heart was at Spurs.
Yeah.
Unlike
Grealish's
Daniel
wouldn't have been at Villa.
who just broken promises.
Grealish's would have been at Villa more than Kane's would have been at Spurs.
Can I ask you a question, Dale? How do you think this is going to play out?
How do I think it's going to play out?
Yeah.
For right or for wrong, Kane will get his move.
Well, there you go. He's done his job then, hasn't he?
But I think he's going about it. I think it's wrong.
Doesn't
I think
matter.
he's wrong what he's
when
doing.
He wins probably the league and the Champions
totally
League
wrong.
next season, do you think he cares what you think?
Oh, well, of course he doesn't. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Of course he doesn't.
Exactly. And this is
when
the same.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's the England
old,
captain. What an example is this setting? What example is this setting? He's the England captain.
He's at 34 years old or 36, and he's got Champions League, Premier League, all these medals. You think he's going to look and go, "Oh, I regret leaving Spurs like that"? He won't care.
He's an Arsenal fan.
For Spurs.
It's not about
legend,
that.
And then he's gone on to win trophies.
It's not about what he could go and win and what potentially he could go and win. It's not about that. It's about the guy's behaviour right now, and the fact that
I don't think anyone's disputing that that's wrong.
He's not honouring it. He's not honouring his contract.
I'm not disputing, and I don't think Trig's disputing that it's wrong. But we've all just agreed it will work, and that's his ultimate goal. Like, it doesn't matter how you get to where you want to be. If you've got to be like we said, Levy gets what he wants season in, season out because he's an arsehole. Kane is going to get what he wants this summer because he's going to be an arsehole. Now, I'm not being funny and I'm not being disrespectful to Wolves, but I think probably not. You don't care anyway because you weren't really Nuno's biggest fan towards the end. But would it excite you coming back from the Euros knowing that Nuno Espirito Santos was waiting for you?
Well, I just think that all this is
irrelevant. No.
I'm not looking at what Spurs are doing on the pitch or what they're going to achieve this season or what they achieved last season. The fact of the matter is, Harry Kane signed a contract, was stupid enough not to get a buyout clause in there, take Daniel Levy's word for it, and now he's throwing his toys out the pram because things have all gone south. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because
you suck it up
and
get your boots on and get on that pitch.
the
Get it in your
reality of it
contract.
is,
Get it
the
in
rea-
your contract.
the
Jack
reality of it
Grealish
is,
was clever and wise enough to get it in his contract. He was
okay.
wise enough to do it. Kane wasn't.
The reality
Get your
of it
boots on,
is,
get on the pitch.
reality of it is, right, that Kane potentially will end up at City, and so will Jack. Jack, after all of his comments and being a boy head for blah blah blah, he will get booed potentially twice this season, but he'll probably pick three trophies up. Do you think he cares? I don't think he does.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't care what anyone tells me right now. It's taken a lot of bollocks for Jack to leave Villa. It's took a lot because he knew the reaction. His family all live in Birmingham, all big Villa fans. They're probably thinking, I can't go down Villa Park anymore. They're probably got to go and get boxes at the Etihad and go and watch his son at
I actually
the
said
Etihad.
today at work, Villa fan at work, and we were just talking about it. I said, you know what? I actually feel a bit sorry for him.
Yeah.
For Grealish, just the way that your fans have reacted. I was like, you know what? I feel quite bad for him. And like you messaged in, I don't know how true it is, but you posted in the group chat about him kissing the City badge.
There's rumours that he's kissed the badge.
And I'm like, you know what? He's happy for his move. And then he's having all this drama. He's having loads of backlash. Just be happy for him.
But do you know what it is as well, though, Trig? Again, for both of them, good press or bad press, they are in the press, and it's only good for their image. And I don't care whether at the minute, so in 6 months' time, everyone will have forgotten that Kane went on strike to get his move. They'll have forgotten about it. He will be the blue-eyed boy of England again. He'll be, and to put it into perspective, potentially Jack, Foden, Sterling and Kane will be playing in the team week in, week out, and that could potentially be our World Cup starting four up front. Potentially. I'm not saying it will be, but what I'm saying is it is only good for English football, as well as their own careers, as well as... Do you know what I'm trying to say, Tri? And with the greatest respect, people have got short memories. Once Kane scores a spectacular goal, it's unbelievable, isn't it? No, you know, I can understand why he did it. And that's what will happen in 6 months' time. And I understand where you're coming from, Dale. He has thrown his dummies completely out the pram. But ultimately, you've just agreed he will get to his end goal by doing it. So why not?
Yeah, but I don't condone it. I don't condone it at all. And I think that any football fan that does, basically, you're going to have anarchy in football. Is what you're going to have.
I think
if players are going to continue to do this, and fans are going to support it, then we're going down a long dark road as far as I'm concerned.
But I think
you sign contracts, you honour the contract.
He's done enough for Spurs to almost, and again, I don't condone it, but almost warrant doing that. It's not like he's a random player who Spurs have signed, he's played for a couple of seasons, probably been shit, and then he's gone on strike. It's not like that. He's done so much for Spurs. Just let him have it. Let him throw his toys out the pram. He deserves it.
And again, though, Trig, going on to that same point, that I would say maybe 80, 90% of chairman football teams, if a player said, I just don't see my future anymore, I want to leave, I'm not committed to your project. Hence, Jack, they've gone, whether there was a release clause or not, they've gone, fair enough, you've not bought in, we'll honour your move. Levy could have also done that for Kane and gone, fair enough, there was a gentleman's agreement. I said it was 120, I now want 130 because of the season you've just had. But if that offer comes in, we'll make it publicly known that we will accept that. And it would have avoided all that. But because Levy's being a prat, Kane's got to be a prat.
He two blinks first now, isn't he? First.
And again, you know, we're all die-hard fans for our club. If any player at your... So if Neves came out, because I know there's a bit of speculation, and said, don't want to play, don't really see my future here, don't see what... I want to go and win trophies. A little bit like what's happened with Pereira at West Brom, and they've gone, all right, and rot on the bench until an offer comes in. That's exactly how I'd treat him. Say the same to Kane. Unless an offer comes in, what I've said to where it should be, then there you are. But I'm happy to accept it as and when. You know, and I think that's how, you know, a football club should be. If your player doesn't want to play for your club, let him go.
That's Levy's choice. Right. Moving on then. Obviously started the Championship season tomorrow. You're travelling to Sheffield United on Saturday evening. Are you going?
I'm not. No.
Okay. Watching from the comforts of your sofa.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right. You've had
that'd be some atmosphere, that Trig. That'd be an unbelievable atmosphere.
Positive summer. positive summer, extremely positive. I've never seen you this positive about Blues in my life.
I'm not that positive. I'm not that. I've been more positive. I mean, if predicting a 10th finish is the most positive I've ever been.
What do you think's been your best signing so far?
Ryan Woods, 100%.
Not big deal.
I mean, you know more about him than I do.
So top 10 finish then this season, you think?
10th. I don't know. It's hard. We played Albion in a pre-season friendly last week and lost 4-0. So, I mean, I was like, you know what? Yeah, top 10 could maybe have an outside push for playoffs. I'll say that quietly because I don't think we will get playoffs at all. But then we go and lose 4-0 to Albion. I'm like, hold on.
What sort of team did you put out though, Trig? Was it pretty much full strength?
75%. It was 75% strength. But I don't think he's too bothered about the results on the pitch at the minute. He just wants to get the legs back to where they should be.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to predict because everything's so new. We've signed, I think, 8 players. I think 10th. I do worry about our keeper who we've had on loan.
He's awful.
Yeah, I think he's awful. I think it's going to be a problem. I can't see Etheridge starting this year.
What is it? Has he got long COVID? Has he? Is that what's?
Yeah, well, he was in hospital pretty bad, weren't he?
Yeah, I saw all that, but then I kind of
now. I think he's back in light training, but you don't just come back and play, do you? So
no, it's a shame.
It's probably me being pessimistic again. I can just see us after 15 games sitting probably 10th in the league, and then thinking, you know what? If we had a decent keeper, we could probably be in playoffs, something like that. And you know, the keeper position's been dire for a few years, really. I mean, Etheridge was good last season, but let's not talk about Lee Camp.
Getting flogged by the Albion now. I mean, I wouldn't look too much into that. They are right bang in there at the top of the market, to be honest. I mean, it says it all. They're 8 to 13 just to get a top 6 finish, whereas you boys are 11 to 2. So there's a bit of a difference there in terms of ability on the market.
If I had to nail you to the wall on it, Trig, where you're going to finish next season?
10th.
I would agree with. I think I've said that to you the other day. I think
10th. Going to be 10 points at least off playoffs. I think I'm not expecting, and I'd be happy with 10th.
That's a massive progression. It's a massive.
You know what? I'd be happy with 12th. I'd be happy with 14th potentially. I just want to see improvement.
Top half.
Yeah, I'd like top half. I mean, you probably set a target to push for playoffs. It's not going to happen. It will not happen because I'm a realist. But again, everyone has a 3-year plan or 5-year plan. There's got to be a 5-year plan at the end of the year. It's got to be Premier League. So stability this season. And at the same time, we've spent no money. So everyone we signed has been loans and frees. We're still trying to. It's not even 1 in, 1 out. It's 1 in, 1 out and making money. So we need to improve our team and make money, which is obviously difficult to do after staying in the league. Yeah. So if we can just improve by 2 or 3 positions every season, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Good stuff, solid stuff. Who do you think will come out of the division?
It's tough because it's anyone's. It's the Championship.
It is bang open.
You could literally say anyone. You could say Peterborough. You know, it's
stranger things have happened, didn't there? Stranger things have happened. One for you all to avoid now, because I'm going to put this one up. I fancy QPR.
Why do you fancy QPR?
Do you know what? They've had a smashing pre-season. Is Mark Warburton in charge there? QPR. Look really good on the ball. Finished last season really strong as well. And I always think that in the Championship, the Football League rather, momentum is huge. That's why so often you see teams come up and, you know, back-to-back promotions tends to happen from time to time. And also they've been tipped by a reputable source as well to myself. So QPR is a bit of an outside shout for me. But on the top goal scorer market as well, I think Dominic Solanke is not a bad price either, because I think Bournemouth are going to be full of goals this season. I quite like him.
Give me a free to go up then, Dale.
3 to go up. Oh, it's always tough for the playoffs, isn't it? Automatic, I think QPR and Fulham. Automatic.
Interesting. I think QPR are a bit of a myth, to be honest. I don't think they will go.
Yeah, I don't see the high brand QPR.
Playoffs, I mean, I would expect Albion to be in there. Probably Cardiff as well. I think Cardiff are a decent side. There's always a couple of other surprises.
What do we think of Barnsley next season? I reckon Barnsley could do it. I'm going to go Barnsley, Fulham, and Bournemouth.
I just think losing that manager might lose a bit of momentum, to be fair. And it depends, like you say, depends how they kind of react to that. Like, it could be a completely different team and a manager that wants to play football, and they've just been kind of a lump ball merchants, haven't they? So, but yeah, I'll get the sentiment. I think
they've lost that DK, haven't they? But I think Barnsley will be up there. It seems to be a feel good.
Yeah, they lost the captain as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I reckon Barnsley through the playoffs.
Well, I'm going to go Sheffield United and West Brom automatic, and I think potentially Fulham to go back up in the playoffs. Maybe someone outside like a Middlesbrough.
3 that have gone down to come straight back up again, second season in a row.
I say maybe an outsider like a Cardiff.
Oh no, where was he? Because it was Brentford went up, didn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, then let's move on up a division. Hopefully Blues will be following suit this season. Give me your top 4 and your bottom 3 from the Prem this season.
Want to go?
Yeah, go.
I think top 4, not in particular order. I think
we want an order. We want an order.
Oh, okay. I
reckon our orders are going to be the same. Go on.
I think
no, because hold on. Chelsea's Daryl's going to predict Chelsea to win the league. Carry on.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to stick with City because I think they will get Kane, and I think that team becomes invincible almost. Chelsea to come second. I think Man U will come third, and I think Leicester will come fourth.
What's that?
Yeah, I think they've got enough to. I think the signings that they've made have been fantastic. I think they've addressed some key areas.
We like controversy on this pod.
I don't think Liverpool have done enough to improve their position. I know that Van Dijk's going to come back, but he's come back from a very serious injury. So is Joe Gomez. They've brought in a novice that I don't think's that great. I don't think the lad that they brought in from RB Leipzig's that great.
I like him.
What I'm saying to you is about that. I don't think he's like going to transform that defence. I think he'll actually. I actually think he
needs to though.
But what I mean by that is, I think it'll still be Joe Gomez and Van Dijk to start. And I think he's a sub. I really do, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool.
In that order?
Yeah, that order.
I'm going to flip that round. Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool. I will give a little bit of context to why I think Chelsea, European champions first and foremost. They're going to be bringing Lukaku into that team, which is going to probably bring them another 20 goals on top. They're just a machine for me. They're a machine and they're building to something. I think they'll get somewhere between 90 and 95 points this season. City have to win the Champions League this season for me. If they're going to be spending that kind of money, they have to win it this season. Yeah. It could be all eggs in that basket. It's going to be difficult for them to juggle both, and something will give. I think that Chelsea will be the flip side to that. They'll be going all out to win the league. They've got City's number. They're beaten 3 times at the back end of last season. FA Cup, League, Champions League final. City, I personally don't think will win enough big games to win the league. I think Pep against Ole, I think they've only beat Man United 1 in 6 games, and that was in a League Cup game, I think. They've got a poor record. They've never done a league double over Liverpool. And obviously Chelsea, like I've just referenced, have got a bit of an edge over them. Unless they address that, I mean, you look at City's points tally last season, didn't exactly pull up any trees, really. They were just more consistent than everybody else, or anybody else rather than everybody else. I think that Chelsea, if they do get Lukaku in, with potential rumours of one other coming in after that,
Kunde.
To coin a phrase that's been used on this podcast before, they're a juggernaut.
Sure.
See, this is what I don't, and again, I know it's easier for me to say as a Villa fan, but surely City's priority was to address their gaping hole that they haven't got a striker. Surely that 100 million should have been spent there before bringing Jack in. But that's to me the only way that City don't win, if they don't get a striker in. And I'm sure if Kane falls on its arse, I do think they will bring in a very good striker. But they need to address that position, because Jesus is not good enough to run that line. And I know he likes to play this false nine, but it's proved in the Champions League it doesn't work. It doesn't work against the big teams.
Comments on Man U and Liverpool. I wouldn't sleep on either of them. They'll both be decent this season. Man United are doing decent business, but I just don't see a scenario where either Liverpool or Man United can finish above the other three.
Yeah,
they might nestle in there and potentially may even nick a second or a third, but I just don't see how they can finish above all the other three.
Man
United get in there.
City and Chelsea this season.
Yeah,
I think City, Chelsea, and then there's going to be a bit of a gap, I think.
I think as well. I think if Mane hits a bit of form again this season, it'll be like a new signing, because he was pretty much absent last year.
Yeah, it was dog shit.
Salah basically was kind of pulling all the weight for him. Yeah, they've again got another issue where they haven't really got a striker that scores goals. I know he gets involved with the defensive side of stuff, but for me, I want a striker that scores goals, man. And like, that's what you're paid to do. Like, I get that you've got two unbelievable players left and right of you, but you've got to chip in as well. And I do think that is an area that Liverpool need to address if they want to push on again.
I think sort of looking at what they've been doing pre-season, obviously they're going to also be losing Mane and Salah for the African Cup of Nations as well. It's worth noting. But for me, I mean, I doubted the guy, and full credit to Sam Taylor. He's always rated Salah. Salah's the best forward player in this division, and I don't think that's debatable. I think, like, obviously Kane as a centre forward, but I think when you're looking at like wingers and players that get on the ball and move you 30, 40, 50 yards up a pitch, he's the best player in the league for doing that. I think he's fantastic. He's genuine world class.
Again, I think when you look at Salah, I think if you take penalties away from him, I think his goal record diminishes. And then if he doesn't score in a game, I don't know what he does. I know that sounds ridiculous, because if you score, clearly you've scored a goal, but it's the same with Fernandes. If he doesn't get a penalty in some games, I honestly forget he's on the pitch. Like, he actually got left out of Portugal's teams because he's just, if they don't get a penalty and score it, some games, they actually become invisible.
Well, Ronaldo takes penalties to Liverpool. You go see, he loves a padded record, doesn't he? I'll quickly move on from that one. I'm only joking. Bottom three.
Cool, you're not going to like these, I don't think. Well, I don't know. I've gone...
To be honest, we've all got opinions.
Southampton, Burnley and Brentford to go.
I've got not... Did you say Norwich or not?
No. I think not, unless... I know I'm being forward here, but if the rumours are to believed and we do get Cantwell, then yes, I'd swap that for Brentford. But at the minute, I actually think they've made some really solid signings, but I don't think Brentford have done enough. I actually think they're scraped up.
Who have Norwich signed?
They've signed
Billy Gilmore, haven't they?
Billy Gilmore. They've signed that Rasisha from Werner, who Villa were going to spend like 30 million on last season, but they got him for like 10. And I think they brought a few other like smart signings in, and I'm like, I thought you've done enough. I think
I've got Norwich to go down just because I don't think they even want to stay up.
Potentially,
like,
you're right though. It's their model. It's their model. You're right. It is.
Yeah, I've gone Norwich, Burnley, and Palace.
This was one I tinkered with. It really was. It really was. I've got Norwich, Watford and Burnley as well. I think Burnley are just they're at a dead end now. They're at a dead end. Southampton, Palace, I can see them stinking the place out. But another team who I think are going to struggle this season, I think Everton. I think Everton will be bottom 6 this season.
Ooh.
Because
I don't know
Rafa,
about that, but I think they'll be firmly in the bottom
not
10.
as good as people think.
No, they'll be firmly in the bottom 10, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near it. But
I don't know.
I've had Sam Taylor in my ear all week about how bad Southampton are, and I'm now like Southampton are definitely gone. But I think realistically, I think you've obviously got to look at the 3 coming up. Again, I don't think Watford have done enough either. So it could literally be another season. It could be any one of 7 teams, I think.
There's a lot of shit teams, isn't there?
And I think the gulf between that bottom 7 and up it's quite vast, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the past 2 seasons, Newcastle in odds wise have always been pretty much nailed on to sort of be there or thereabouts. Not even coming into this conversation, are they?
None of us have mentioned Brighton, and I think
I think they've made some decent signings, haven't they?
I know they knock the ball around nicely, but
I think their biggest asset is the manager.
You know what it is? That it's true. They get called expected goal FC because like they should score about 10 a game, but they just don't score. And
you've got a striker,
yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of shit teams in the Premier League, and it's easy for me to say now, but it just seems like it's just getting shitter every year. Like anyone could go down, which I suppose makes it more interesting.
Absolutely. Oh, West Ham going to cope with Europe as well. That's another thing.
Let's be fair, that was a freak season, wasn't it?
It was. And I think with them as well, they're another team that they got a lot of success at the end of last season based on a loan player that's come out and said, I'd rather go abroad than come back, which that screams a problem at West Ham to me. And I think, you've got Koufal, who's quite clearly a fantastic addition, who's disgruntled because they haven't offered him a better contract.
Antonio's injury prone.
Just
Souček's good though. Souček's bloody good.
Oh, he is, but West Ham are one of them teams.
As well. Fans, you made the point about fans, you did.
Yeah, I think but again, that's another thing that's negative for West Ham. It's a cesspit there. I know it can be at every club, and every club has those patches of maybe 3 or 4 games where you couldn't buy a win, where it gets a little bit nervy and the atmosphere's in the air and stuff. But I think no worse than West Ham in the league, to be honest. I think they are. I mean, they're throwing stuff at the chairman in the stadium and stuff. Like it's just outrage. You go into his house and I know I'm saying that, but with Villa fans burning bloody Grealish shirts at the moment. But I think actually having fans in will be a detriment to West Ham, to be honest.
Any dark horses for the season? No, I've got one.
Well, I've said Leicester. I think Leicester really will.
Yeah, sure. Let me just look at the league and see.
Pains me to say, I'm going to go with Leeds. I think Leeds will kick on, but now Ellen Road is going to be full. No one wants to go there. No. Nobody's going to go there and play football.
Again, they haven't brought anyone in of note to kind of push them on. And I get what you mean. It almost, the fans is a signing for them because of how much that, but it's almost like that Sheffield United effect. If fans were in last season, I don't believe Sheffield United would have got relegated. However,
bad though.
You are.
They were that bad though.
I know. It's just.
You think how can fans give them 20 points? Do you know what I mean? Like it's hard to imagine, but for me, like Leeds, they're a good team.
I agree with Leeds.
They're a good team. I think they might push top 7.
I'll tell you a team I think are going to be poor. Not saying anywhere near relegation.
Come on, let's have it. Come on.
I think honestly 10th.
Wolves.
Arsenal.
Oh yeah. I think Arsenal
are
mid-table
on
team now.
They're slowly becoming interested FC. They're interested in every fucker, but they never sign anyone. It's almost as if to say to the fans, "Oh, we bloody tried." It's no disrespect, Trig, but remember when you had the Golden Sullivans at Blues, and it was like, "Are we going to sign Michael Owen?" No, you're not. You're never going to sign Michael Owen. But
everyone.
Let's get interested in them. Let the fans see that. Yeah, let's look like to the fans that we look like we're trying, and then it never comes to it. Oh yeah, but we were close. They're not close to any of these.
We were going to sign Ronaldinho.
There you go. And this is a little bit like what Arsenal are doing now. They're throwing their hat into to players that are playing Champions League football. They need to understand where they are, and they're on the slide, and they almost need to kind of do what teams in that mid-table are doing, going and cherry picking very good bottom of the Premier League players or top Championship players.
I know they do have a shit season because I hate them.
And me.
I don't know why I hate them. I've always hated them.
Yeah, I don't like them either. Proper entitled they are.
There's another one.
Right, let's wrap this up then. Give me your predictions on. Let's just quickly go through. I think that we will come 10th this season. You might think optimism there, but I do. Yeah, I think.
Before you move on from that, Dale, can you give me a reason why you think you're going to move up 3 places? What have you seen?
Oh well, people will obviously point and say, "Oh, how do you know he's going to come back the same player? But having a full season at Raul Jimenez straight away is worth another 10 points to us at least, really. Obviously 10 points and somewhere in the region of 15 to 20 goals. I think that what I've seen so far, I like the way that Lars sets up the team.
I haven't seen any games, so I can't comment.
Two up top, he's pretty much unheard of these days, but I'm all for it. And this is the breakout season for Fabio Silva.
Is he going to go two up top?
It's going to be the breakout.
Have you got any more strikers though?
Fabio Silva, Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, have you got any more?
Let's go.
You can't just have them all.
No, obviously, I think that's how we've set up so far. But I think I'm optimistic. We're notoriously late in the market. We will bring in another 2 or 3. There's going to be a couple going out the door as well, but nothing other than Deadwood. I don't expect. Here we go. You might have to click this one. I don't expect that we'll sell Neves now. Not this late in the day. So yeah, notoriously late in the market. Do like what I've seen so far from Lars. It needed freshening up. I'm positive. Let's go this season.
Good. That's good. I think every fan wants to feel like that going into a season. And if you'd have asked me 2 days ago, I was open. I honestly thought without Jack and the potential that everyone that we were interested was going to skyrocket and put another 10, 15 million onto what we wanted to pay and we would have just walked away. I genuinely thought that we would have been flirting with relegation because of just based on the form that we were in last season. When Jack was out, we were second bottom in the form table. We couldn't buy a win and we played a lot of the bottom 6 in that run. But I genuinely do think now, I know Leon Bailey's going to probably miss the first 2 games of the season. Hopefully he'll get 10, 20 minutes in those games to kind of get him out. Obviously now bringing Danny Ings, but you've probably bought yourself 10, 15 goals maybe that season. I think Ollie Watkins will kick on again next season. I think Eni Buendia will kind of lessen the blow. I think he does a lot of what Jack does, probably not as good as what he did, but I think he will pay for himself. And I actually think that we potentially should be aiming for maybe 10th ourselves. I think 10th is a good aim for us next year as well.
I think we're losing Grealish. Anything above what you achieved last season,
$1,000,000%
would be a good solid campaign. So you got to think, you haven't finished in the top half for over a decade now. So that would be big steps forward.
Make sure you got that one in there, don't I?
but it's right though, because I think ultimately we went from a transfer window where we probably needed to bring 2 or 3 in to now it looks like we're probably going to do another 5, 6, 7 again in, which can take a while to sell in.
You just need a year of stability again and just go again next season. Just
exactly that. I mean, I think you'll probably see in the next week or so where the ambition of our club is. If we do go out and make a real statement signing of a centre mid that we really desperately need, then it's clear that they want it now. And my worry is, and I keep going on about it, is that I think that you need that from the beginning of the window. You want to have a good couple of games in pre-season, a lot of training together, a lot of sessions together. And I just think that with Leon Bailey not even in the country yet, Danny Ings only joining yesterday, it takes a little while for an attacking force to sort of gel and understand their runs, understand how they play. And understand what I'm trying to say? So it could be a sticky start for us. And actually, I think having a really easy start to the season could actually go against us, because if you lose them, it sets a bit of a rot.
Thinking the same thing, really. Like, I look at the fixtures and I noticed you had some easy fixtures, but exactly what you've just said, maybe it'll take you those fixtures to gel, and then you think you've got a run of hard games which could play against you. But
exactly that.
You've got to play them all twice, haven't you? So it doesn't matter.
I don't think we'll be in trouble. But like you say, it's disappointing, because I do think that if we'd have kept Grealish and added maybe 2 or 3 names that we looked like we were interested in with him, I do think we could have pushed on and had a real charge.
I think 10th's fair for you.
10th's good. I think it's a good aim. I think it's where we should be aiming now. Like you say, stabilise and then, assess next season. And if, again, hopefully we're in that position where we need 2 or 3 again to push on.
Cool. Right. So in a word then, just give me one number where the Wolves going to finish this season.
14th.
14th,
I'm going 10th. And Villa,
10th.
10th.
and I'm going 11th.
Okay.
How about Albion?
2nd.
4th.
5th. Just don't
Just
copy,
to-
yeah.
Just
And
And then we'll
Might
get
as well just go Blues. Might as well just go Blues. I'm going to
10th.
go
10th.
8th.
I'm aiming for 10th, but I'm going to predict 12th.
Okay.
I got 24th then.
Trig, I don't like how similar our answers have been on that.
Oh no, yeah.
Should we just throw James Ward-Prowse in there quickly?
God.
But he's 40 mil fair, yeah.
He's
Get
40
on
million
there, get
pounds.
on a poll.
Right. My quick
Good, yeah,
answer on
could be a
this,
good
my quick mop up on James Ward-Prowse is that he's very much to Southampton what Grealish is to us. He's been there since the age of 6. He's on a long-term contract. Again, his agent hasn't been clever enough to put a buyout clause in, or whether it's good or bad. And that was in this scenario. If you go on to any Southampton sort of comments, they're saying we wouldn't even consider something for 60 million. So the board are saying by no way are we going to let this player go. And I think it would actually take something like 50 million to even get him to talk to you about him. And you know what? That's fair. If it's a seller's market and it's not what I think that James Ward-Prowse is worth or what you do, it is what Southampton rate him at. And if they rate him at 50 million, stump up or move on.
I think 40 is like if they ask for 40, I don't think it's like, oh well, why do you want 40 mil for James Ward-Prowse? Because like you say, I think that's what people are asking for players nowadays. That is the going rate. 40 mil for James Ward-Prowse is what they're going to want for him.
I absolutely got both sides of it. In my opinion, is James Ward-Prowse at 40 million good business? I think it is. But is it good business for Villa? I don't think it is. Because I think that for 40 million, you would be better spending it in other areas. Yes, a centre mid, but not necessarily a centre mid of his calibre or what he brings to the team. But 40 million for James Ward-Prowse for a team that he'd fit into and do well is good business.
And I think if you put it in that respect, that let's say, for instance, that
how much is Maddison being touted to go to Arsenal
70
for?
mil.
70. But what I'm trying to say to you is now, if Leon Bailey played for,
that's what I mean. That's the going right. If Madison's 70 mil, Ward-Prowse is about 40.
Exactly that.
Absolutely.
But if they, for instance, if Leon Bailey played for a Crystal Palace, we would not have got him for 25 million. It would have been 35, 40. Like you said, Trig, that's probably the going rate in the Prem. But you can find that quality if your scouting network's good enough. And this is where, like, I get it. Like, we know no one probably predicted 2 years ago that Jack could walk out the door. But at the start of the season, we came out and said, we've been planning for this window for 2 years. So if James Ward-Prowse was our target 2 years ago, you need to be looking at alternatives if that doesn't come off. If that's the model and the player that you're looking for, you surely have looked at similar sort of qualities outside of the Premier League. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think you can get better players for cheaper outside the Premier League, but that's probably because they haven't got the Premier League experience. How many times have we seen players so many times come over here and because you can't guarantee that Premier League
and the English tax. As soon as you're English, there's more money on your head as well.
Yeah.
Should have looked at that lad from Albion, okay, Kushla, Matthias Pereira. But we'll see. We will see, lads. It's been great to have you back. It's been great to get stuck back into it as well. And I am, like I said at the top of the show, I'm absolutely
ask me for a prediction
buzzing.
for Blues Sheffield United.
Come on, just give it to me.
2-1 Blues. Come on.
There we go. The optimism seeping through. I'm buzzing. Let's get to it. The proper stuff now. Nitty gritty. Full crowds back in. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to more than anything else. It's just been too long. Football is not the same without fans in. We make it what it is.
Yeah.
Can't wait to be back.
Right. Well, we can either do one Sunday reviewing the weekend, or we'll just pick one up next week close to the start of the Prem.
Do it next week.
Right.
Cool.
Cheers.
Catch you in a bit.
See you later.
Cheers, lads.